never change, even if they start to hate on my name. Stay true to yourself and never ride another wave. They say that I ain't been acting the same. I wasn't happy, won't go back again. Moving and shake until they know the name. Can't handle the boy because they sound the same, yeah. I came to save you from all of the fakers. Wanna know about me, then call all of my haters. They'll tell you that the boy ain't really worth it. In the stew every week with the same purpose. The boy been hot in a lit furnace. I feel like I deserve this. We will never change, yeah. Always moving major. Saying that I'm not the one, but you've been sounding crazy. We will never change, yeah. Always moving major. Saying that I'm not the one, but you've been sounding crazy.
Believe that can fly, that's Kelly. Grew up on West, ain't nothing you can tell me. Knew they would ride with me once they knew my M.O. Better hold on, whoa Nelly. I must say what I need to say, Mayor. Watch how I built it out, I'm the conveyor. At these shows and I rap and I know they gon' clap. Yeah, they put their hands together, no prayer. I ain't worried about you, I'm just worried about me. What I know is what I'll be. And y'all was heartless, got you out of my system to make good music. No ID. You will never bring me down, never break my stride. I'ma make it out by rapping how I feel inside, yeah.
We will never change, yeah. Always moving major. Saying that I'm not the one, but you've been sounding crazy. We will never change, yeah. Always moving major. Saying that I'm not the one, but you've been sounding crazy. You know I always stand tall. They gon' wanna see me fall. Sounding crazy. We will never change, yeah. Always moving major. Saying that I'm not the one, but you've been sounding crazy. Saying that I'm not the one, but you've been sounding crazy. That I get, I feel like it's not even in sight. Shows around the nation, but it started with the missed flight. Wonder if these sounds are saying I'm not made for this life. Everyone been putting on this image like they blessed now, but really they've been thinking that they'll lose it.
What's going on, MBL Network? We are live here, episode number 51. I'm joined alongside my co-host, Lip Ripper. It is January 24th, 2019. We're getting everything settled in here. We're going to be talking playoffs. Playoffs are coming. You see it on the thumbnail. Shout out to JB. Got all the graphics in. Got the overlay, new overlay on there. Let me know how it looks and sounds, guys, if you like it. Lip, what is going on? We have some breaking news before we get into our Bleacher Report rundown. We're going to try to run down the last 24 hours on Bleacher Report, discuss it, give our analysis of it, and pretty much try to do it in 15 minutes. Lip said it was a little long last time. It went to about 30 minutes. What's going on, Lip?
Well, episode 51. Pretty excited. And I'm not just a co-commish, not just a co-host, but a father now. So this is putting a whole new spin on life, and it's very exciting.
I threw up the breaking news as you said that because that was breaking news.
It was breaking news.
I was going to break that myself. I mean, you just didn't trust me or what? Or you just couldn't wait?
I just couldn't wait. I'm just very
excited.
I got you. It's an exciting thing.
Breaking news, Lip is a father. He came in, about 10 months ago and knocked up the wife. And what came out was about 10 pounds, right? What was the weight of
9.8.
The beautiful baby girl you had? 9.8 pounds. That's a heavy little baby girl. She looks beautiful. We'll have some pictures next time on there for her. Lip didn't send me any. He was supposed to. But we got caught up in a bunch of other stuff. So appreciate everybody stopping by, checking us out. We got 21 viewers right now watching Commissioner Corner Podcast here, a bi-weekly podcast on the NBL Network. Let's get into some action. NBL Season 36 on the screen. It's time to get it rocking and rolling. Let's get right into it. All right, so we've reached the halfway point in the season. This was less than 24 hours ago. We're currently in week 11 right now. So it's perfect time to take some look at the candidates around the league, such as MVP. And Bleacher Report went and looked at this. As you see, MVP, they had Mahomes, Saquon Barkley, Allen Rose. We're going to discuss that a little bit later. Offensive Player of the Year for the AFC, Naheem Hines, DJ Shark from the Jacksonville Jaguars, Curtis Samuel for the Tennessee Titans, all having great seasons. Defensive Player of the Year, they went Derek Rivers, Dante Fowler Jr., Reuben Foster. Offensive Player of the Year in the NFC, Calvin Ridley, Martavis Bryant, Zeke Elliott. Defensive Player of the Year, Daniel Hunter, man, that guy's been balling in Minnesota. I think people aren't really looking at that because he is in Minnesota, but he is just racking up sacks, leading the league at sacks. I think he's over 15 now. Melvin Ingram, Miles Jack, also mentioned in that article as well. Lip, what's your thoughts on Daniel Hunter so far? How great has he been for the Minnesota Vikings?
Well, I mean, that's one good piece to build around, and I was actually going to pick out a similar guy, and Derek Rivers. You look at these guys, both defensive ends for their teams. Derek Rivers is defensive end for the Patriots. 12 sacks for Rivers. Hunter has 14 sacks, so they're right on that edge. We're at the halfway point in the season. That puts them on pace for almost 30 sacks.
Yeah.
And that's pretty special considering that 30 sacks is a pretty high number. You don't see that quite often. But both of these guys are doing things that are helping their defenses big time, and you got to give more credit to Hunter because the Vikings aren't a big team on the radar. They're not having the hottest season so far, but he's given that defense hope and something to build around. And at 3-6-1, the Vikings aren't completely out of it. They're not a tank team, but they are building, and he's something to build around. So that's something good to have.
Yeah, the Vikings currently 3-6-1, as you stated, this season coming off a tie against the Green Bay Packers. It hasn't looked good. This is actually the 28th ranked defense, and they're 31st against the pass, but they got the leading pass rusher, according to sacks, in the NBL. I think it's crazy. J.J. Watt making $22.8 million this year in NBL Season 36. He's out for the year with a foot fracture. This season he totaled 10 tackles and a sack. It could be an end of his tenure in Houston. Lip, any surprise on J.J. Watt's lack of productivity this year before he went down? Obviously, an aging player now.
Yeah, you look at the Texans. They're 20th in pass defense. They're 22nd against the run. This isn't a dominant defense, and it has a lot with J.J. Watt getting older and getting more brittle. And now you see that he's hurt. This is not too far, out of what we expected. He's injury prone. This happens, so it's about time for him to go, and that's going to free up a lot of money for them to start rebuilding somewhere else on their team.
Absolutely. Through 9 games this season, Russell Wilson is leading the leagues in sacks taken. He's hit 40 times. He's had his back on the ground. He's got 5 fumbles behind an average offensive line in Indy. The veteran quarterback will look to make quicker reads, stay in the pocket if they are trying to make a run here. I'm kind of surprised by this, Russell Wilson being sacked so much. I think it's really sad to see a quarterback with his ability to be elusive end up on his back so much. I mean, that really is a detriment to him being a successful quarterback in the NBL. How have you seen that? I mean, you've seen it firsthand. How bad is this offensive line in Indy?
Well, the thing was, if you look at last year, over the entire season with the Colts, he was sacked 39 times. So to already be at 40, that's a huge, that's terrifying, because if that offensive line's declining, you made a great point. This is a quarterback that can get out of the pocket, move around. He doesn't have cement feet like some quarterbacks in the league. So if they are declining, and you look at Russell Wilson's stats, they're still good. Everything kind of trending a little bit down. I don't think that it's directly related to him. I think it is all on this offensive line. So other than quarterback rating, it seems to be trending down a little bit. And I don't like to see that because they need to keep this young man healthy because he is a starter. He's a great leader for their team, and he plays really well whenever he's protected.
All right, I want to get your opinion on this. Golden Tate, obviously in the last year of his deal, 33 years young. Golden Grade is making $19.81 million this season for the Baltimore Ravens. Currently caught 25 passes, 416 yards, averaging 16.6 yards a catch this NBL season 36. He has 4 touchdowns, and that's half of last season's total. So he's right on pace to do what he did last year. $19.81 million. How do you allow that to happen? What does he have over the Baltimore Ravens franchise that has allowed them to say, hey, he's in the last year of his deal, obviously a backloaded deal. I mean, do you think Golden Tate thought, I'm going to make it and play through my entire contract and end up making almost $20 million, be the highest paid? I think he might be one of the highest paid wide receivers in the NBL. He's definitely top 5 highest paid receivers, and the production just really isn't there at all.
Yeah, the crazy thing to me is that this is a run-first team. You look, they're number 2 in rushing. They're 27th in passing. Look where all of their money is just this season. $20 million to Golden Tate, $14 million to Rob Gronkowski.
Wow.
That is a large percentage.
Well, we can say Gronk is helping with the run game, probably, right? Can we spin that?
Buy it.
We can spin that.
You don't even lie. There's no way. There's no way he's helping in the run game.
He's a good run blocking tight end, but yeah,
he's just taking up more space than somebody else just because he's 6'6", 265.
Well, you look at Gronk. They pay him to come in there and be a red zone target at this point of his career, and he hasn't been that at all. But yeah, you're talking
0 touchdowns.
You're talking $34 million between two guys that just are producing a 31st rank. What'd you say, 31st or 29th ranked passing attack?
27th in the pass.
27th passing attack. I don't understand it. All right, we're going to scroll through some more Morning Buzz. Did you know that in 7 of their 9 games, the Giants have allowed 7 points or less? Well, here's an update. We got some breaking news on that one. I'll throw the breaking news up.
Boom, boom.
The New York Giants have just lost today. Week 11, they lost to the division rival Washington Redskins in a close game. How impressive was that victory to see Nemo come up with a big-time win over the New York Giants? And they gave up a little bit more than 7 today.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this. Whenever we were getting the show together and stuff, I was watching the Redskins at 1-8, and I was like, what happened to this team? This team is just underperforming this season. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but it doesn't matter if they're on that list. They can still knock off one of the more powerful teams in the league, and that's exactly what happened. The Giants said, 1-8, we can just play this slow. I think this was Josh Allen's first game back, and he didn't play awful, but they just didn't get into the groove, the rhythm of things. And I think that's kind of what happened. Only 17 points. And then the defense, like you said, completely played against what they have all season. And then those Redskins always staying alive, always fighting, got the Giants when they weren't ready.
Absolutely, guys. Appreciate the 28 viewers watching live right now, guys. If you want to check us out some more, go ahead and check us out on Twitch.tv/NBL Network. Live coverage of NBL games. We got Super Show games, two games on the screen at one time. We got all this phenomenal stuff. Check us out, twitch.tv/NBL Network. That's where it's at. If you want to catch some live content here and you're wondering where the games are at, where are all the games I'm supposed to be watching. Tomorrow, also 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have Building the Franchise Cincinnati Bengals episode number 3. They're going to be taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, an early start, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Expect a 4:15 kickoff for that game as well. We talked about the upset already between the Giants and the Redskins. Top 5 rookies in sacks. This is the final one, so we did a little under 15 minutes today. Top 5 rookies in sacks. Defensive end for the Carolina Panthers, Juwan Lett has 11. Defensive end for the Detroit Lions, Stanley Vaughn, he's got 11. Then cornerback, Aspa Caldwell, he's got 6. Defensive tackle, Nick Scott, 6. Right outside linebacker, Donald Sims, 5. Lett and Vaughn have had solid rookie campaigns for the Panthers and Vikings. The DNs seem to be having a friendly competition for the sack lead. And I've noticed that because obviously I have defensive end Stanley Vaughn. It has been going back and forth, but Juwan Lett is a much better attribute defensive end. He's got a lot of potential in Carolina, who had a pretty good draft, and it seems to be paying dividends. So people asking, hey, how much does the draft really influence you the very next season? I think the Panthers' lip is a good spin, you can say, and hey, if you have a good draft, you might bounce back and be a playoff team the next season. I mean, they're definitely looking like they potentially could be.
Yeah, and I think so. I think I like this. I think even more so now. It used to be that your 1 and 2 picks would be stars right out of the gate, and the rest would kind of just, fill in space. They didn't. Yeah. It depending on the team, the scheme, the owner. They would just kind of take up space. Some of them would do good. Most of them were just kind of in the same realm. But now I really like this, where those 3rd through 7th rounders usually aren't going to come out and be stars right away, but they're going to get better in their 3rd season. And you see that a lot in life. So to see that coming out in the way we play Madden is really cool. I kind of went off on a different topic there, but you had said how important it is for a draft to be, ignite a turnaround the very next season. And it starts with those 1st and 2nd round picks, but then it also really compounds and builds off those deeper guys, which is a really cool thing that has been implemented now with the development systems of this draft. And like I said, it's a little bit off topic, but I think it's a really cool thing that you pointed out. And I wanted to go into that a little bit because it really is helping bring so much value to scouting and drafting that you just didn't really pay attention to before.
What's going on, Gub? Appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, defensive tackles used to be the sack getters when me and Lip started playing in this NBL. And it was kind of corny and weird that you'd see Ndamukong Suh with, 20-plus sacks. And
Nick Fairley and Ndamukong Suh in the middle.
Those were my 99 boys.
Defense were just demolishing people.
DNs weren't really guys that got sacks when in real life, I mean, it really is defensive end pass rushers and outside linebackers are the ones that really pursue the quarterback, while the D tackles outside of Aaron Donald, I understand he's an exception. If they still have him playing D tackle, I know he's 280. They move him around a little bit there. Let's go ahead and move forward just a little bit. Actually, let's go ahead and talk about some breaking news. We got OSU. He's got an announcement to make, so we're going to go ahead and put that on the screen right now.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's OSU, and I am very excited to announce that through the EA Shoutcaster Showdown, I have been selected to head out to Redwood City, California, and be live on the call during the Madden Championship Series. I can't thank EA enough for this opportunity. As you guys know, I've been here as the network director of the NBL for about the last year and a half. Been doing the live play-by-play here on the NBL network for almost 2 years now, and I'm just so excited for this opportunity. So big shout out to EA. Big thank you to, of course, the admins here in the NBL, Bomber and Lip, especially, as two guys who have put a lot of faith in me and allowed me to use this platform and really take a creative thing that I'm passionate about and do it on a weekly basis. So forever in debt to the guys at the NBL and of course to everybody who's tuned into NBL Live. I can't tell you how cool it is seeing you guys in the chat each and every week during our live broadcast. So tune in to the Madden Championship Series. It's going to be January 30th through the 2nd. I'll be tweeting from there. Let you guys know when I'm going to be on the air so you guys can tune in. Make sure you tune in all week because it's live. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I can't wait to get out there and get down to business. So I hope to see you guys in the chats hanging out during the Madden Championship Series. Again, a big thank you just to everybody who supported the NBL Network.
All right, what's going on? I'm having some frame drops, so we'll play that video again in a little bit. I don't know why I was dropping frames there, but we'll go ahead and transition on. Let's get the music back rocking and rolling, and we'll get into our first topic. We're talking MVP discussion. We're looking at two guys that are usually in, I guess, excuse me, in the MVP discussion. Let's go ahead and get them on the board right now. You got Zeke Elliott and Saquon Barkley. Lip, take us away right here. Obviously, Saquon's hurt. He's out of the discussion, but this is what it would look like if we didn't have our obvious favorite for the repeat, which would be Patrick Mahomes. I mean, who can deny that?
Yeah, so Zeke is actually out for the next 6 weeks, I think. I think that's the length of his injury, but so this was made just moments before he went down with that injury. And if you look at these guys, they are very comparable, and they always have been throughout the season. They get a lot of carries, they get a lot of yards, and they get a lot of touchdowns. And they really carry their teams deep into the playoffs every single year. And this was kind of the argument that we were trying to create. Which one of these guys would you rather have? Which one's better at pure running which one's better at pass catching out of the backfield. And this was all, of course, with taking Patrick Mahomes out of the conversation, because the quarterback position, the way he's playing right now, he's probably the early favorite for sure at the quarterback position, Patrick Mahomes for MVP. So looking at Barkley versus Zeke, their attributes are both amazing. And to this topic right here, Bomber, what is more important? Is it the yards to be able to pick up first downs and put your team in scoring position, or is it touchdowns that gives you more value at the halfback position?
I mean, it's really tough to say which one is more valuable. Obviously, you're going to need both to be an MVP candidate in my eyes. I look at the yards from Saquon Barkley, and it just looks like he's got a lot more attempts, though. So it goes into that.
Yeah.
What are the attempts to the yards? What are the attempts to the touchdowns? I know some teams drive the ball down the field, and they're punching it in with the halfback. And Saquon seems to be doing both. Zeke Elliott seems to be a guy that maybe they're passing into the red zone, and then they're running with him. He's getting the majority of his snaps in the red zone. That's a stat I would definitely want to look at. But two guys to keep in fact. And how long is Saquon going to be out? Is he out for the rest of the season?
It's Zeke, and I think he's out 6 weeks. I think he might return week 17, I think.
So he's out the MVP race. That ain't happening.
Yeah, I mean it just happened that right after we had made this, he had went down. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be out. It's going to be between Zeke and Mahomes, and to me, it always goes to a quarterback playing out of his mind is always going to win MVP to me. But just looking at these guys, over the last 4 years, Zeke, his first season averaged 5 yards per carry. Every season over that, over 6.
Yeah.
And then you look at Barkley. His first season, he only averaged 4 yards per carry, and then 6.2, 6.5, and now this year he's over 7.4. So they both average 6 yards a carry, which is insane because if you run it, just twice, you're picking up first downs every 2 plays, and that's the kind of value that these guys bring. Now, you pointed out Barkley did have a lot more carries whenever this was made. He might have had an extra game or so over Zeke because of Zeke's injury, but still, I think that 7.4 yards per carry is a monstrous number. And looking over the past,
Zeke's out till week 16 too. He got hurt versus Philly. He only had 2 attempts for 17. So both of these guys go down in what looks to be. I still don't think they were competing with Patrick Mahomes though for MVP. Not even close. Mahomes is just putting up the numbers and the touchdowns. I still don't think Mahomes is going to do it in the regular season. But it's definitely something to look out for. Let's take a look at the playoff matchups. If the playoffs started today, on the AFC, we'd have the number 1 seed, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 2 seed, New England Patriots. Both of them with bye weeks. Number 3 seed, big surprise here. Drum roll, please. The Cincinnati Bengals. They take on the Los Angeles Chargers, which I think the Jets are going to kind of squeeze their way back into that. Jacksonville would win their division, be the 4 seed taking on the Miami Dolphins. That would be a very tough matchup week 1. You got the NFC on the other side. The bye weeks would be the Lions and the Cowboys. The divisional round matchup, wild card matchup, would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Chicago Bears, and the Seattle Seahawks versus the New York Giants. In which maybe in the NFC, you look at those matchups. Both of the road teams might be favored to come out and win those.
So I'm looking at this, and I always want. There's 2 teams here, one on each side that I think that they are there, they are ready. I just don't know if they are playoff, if they can get it together for the playoffs, and that's the Chiefs and the Giants. These are teams that I really, really enjoy. And you start off talking about Patrick Mahomes. He has phenomenal regular season performances year after year. And then in the playoffs, they just kind of hit a brick wall every single time. Now, when will that happen? I don't think that the Bengals can top them. I don't think the Jaguars can top them. I don't think the Chargers could beat them. I think that the Dolphins would give them a very good game. But I think it's going to come down to the Patriots and the Chiefs. And it's all about beating that defense that they have there in New England. And then on the other side with the Giants, the Lions had gotten their championship. The Cowboys are still very hungry for theirs. But those are the 2 teams that I'm going to be looking at to be able to take down the Giants. I don't believe the Seahawks are ready, although they're playing good enough to be in the hunt in the next season or 2 for a championship. I don't think that the Bears have the offense to win, and I kind of feel the same way about the Bucs. They kind of had a great season 2 seasons ago and kind of fizzled out. But these teams play each other a lot, the Cowboys and the Giants. So
let me interject here.
It's really going to come down to that.
Yeah. So we're talking about teams in it right now. Let's take the outside look. The New York Jets is who I think is going to end up making the playoffs. I think they're going to take that spot from the Los Angeles Chargers. You want to talk a little bit about some disappointing teams here real quick? I got to run downstairs and do something real quick while we're live. So, Liv, if you could just talk for 2 to 3 minutes, I'll be right back. But the Cleveland Browns obviously aren't in the hunt right now. We're going to talk about them. But give us some teams that you think are kind of potentially could come in. New Orleans Saints with a big victory this week over the Miami Dolphins. Might shoot them up, maybe taking it. I just don't see anybody taking the Bears or the Giants spot in that wild card, so they'd have to take their division. What are your thoughts on those teams, kind of those dark horse teams on the outside now, looking even the Carolina Panthers important?
Well, see, the wild thing is that we're looking at these right now, and as of now, the Cleveland Browns aren't even in the playoff picture. The Cleveland Browns were the big one to me at 4-5. They had some hiccups early this season, but they're going to turn it around at some point. So that's the team that I'm really looking at. Is they're going to fight back, and I don't think that the Bengals have it in them to hold the Browns off. So what does that mean? That means the Browns could easily sneak up to third in the AFC. And that completely changes things, because that could definitely mean the Bengals are going to sneak into a wild card position. I mean, everybody's talking about the Jets, and by everybody, I mean, Bomber just said that. So I just don't know if the Jets could hold it together, considering that the Browns are going to jump up in the AFC standings at some point, pushing the Bengals down into that wild card spot. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, and I just don't think that they're going to be able to handle it. Now, I just want to say that the Browns are going to be a team that's. I want to know what happened here in this 4-5 stretch. I'm going to pull them up real quick. Bomber said he'd be gone 2 to 3 minutes, and I think everybody around here knows that that's going to be at least a half an hour. So you're stuck with me for that duration. But look at the Browns. Okay, so 24-3 loss to the Patriots in Week 1. Lost to the Bengals in Week 7. Lost to the Lions in Week 8. Another loss to the Bengals in Week 9. That's going to make it extremely difficult for them to win the division. So they would have to finish a game above the Bengals, because they can't tie them, because they would have that division breaker unless the Bengals had a complete meltdown. And then, of course, last week the Ravens beat the Browns, and that just
you look at the Browns even before the suspension. I mean, we can talk about it here.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't playing well. Look at their win-losses before that. I think they dropped 3. Prior to that, I mean, they got a Week 1 loss versus the Patriots, which is a legitimate loss. And then they have a loss against the Bengals Week 7, which was that was a legitimate loss. And then they played the Lions, which was the last game he played. So that would be 1, 2, 3 losses to, 4. They were 4-3. So right now sitting 4-5, obviously going to have to serve a couple weeks to the league. But I mean, you look at the team was not playing this well. What do you think was the kind of the downfall there for the Cleveland Browns this season? What was different about the team? I mean, they lost David Njoku. You see him on the highlight here. This is obviously from a previous highlight from last year, to just kind of show how dominant and better this team was when they had a tight end like him.
I can tell you that we had played the Browns in the preseason, and they were still in a mess about the tight end position. They didn't fill that spot to what they thought to what they wanted to replace Njoku. So that could definitely be a reason for it. Look at this, 23 in points. That's 11th in the NBL. That is significantly down from previous seasons. They were averaging 30 points the last couple of seasons. Defensively, they've just become kind of average, somewhere in that middle of the ground. So there's a lot of issues going on here with the Browns. But like I said, I still think that they have the ability to fight back, considering that they've got an easy schedule after they get past the Chiefs here. So I'm not too worried about it. I'd be more worried if I was the Bengals. I'd be sweating looking at the Browns coming down the stretch.
All right, we're going to take a look here in just a second. Some dream matchups we have from the AFC and NFC playoffs, not including our own teams. Just some matchups I like to see for the network to get them on there. A couple of them already have rivalries brewing. We'll let this clip play out. Tyreek Hill to the house. Jamie wants us to talk about how great the Bucs are. Bucs are great. They're fabulous. And OSU wants to mention how nobody had injuries like him. That's probably debatable. I think I've had a lot of injuries. I played like 7 quarterbacks last year. So maybe me, but not many. He has a lot of injuries right now. It's not looking good in Atlanta. Let's go ahead and transition into this playoff dream matchup for the AFC, Chiefs-Dolphins. You know why I want to see this one lit? Because I saw it on I saw this matchup on NBL Live, and it wasn't pretty. It was a blowout. It was a very, very nasty loss for the Kansas City Chiefs that went really south really quickly, and I think the Kansas City Chiefs, Miami Dolphins would be a nice rivalry to see in the AFC, and the only way it becomes a rivalry is if they play in the playoffs and the Chiefs end up beating the Dolphins. Then we can say, okay, we might have something here. So far, we haven't seen that happen. Obviously, the blowout loss on NBL Live last season really just kind of left a sour taste in our mouth about this Kansas City Chief team. It made us think the Dolphins were maybe there at the next level. They could challenge the Cleveland Browns. But I'd like to see this in the playoffs. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes versus quarterback Allen Rose. I think that's a great quarterback duel for the AFC to have, and I think that could be a monumental early playoff matchup for us.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about Mahomes, but we haven't really talked about Allen Rose. He's having a great season. 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, QBR of 116. That's a solid quarterback rating, solid stats. First in the NBL in points for the offense at 32 points per game, and 7-2 the Miami Dolphins sit. So that could be one of those playoff matchups that gets into the high 30s, low 40s in points for each team, which would be very exciting to see because I think both of these offenses have huge firepower. And I would love to see those two teams go at it. But they also do bring a little bit of defense to the table. So I think it'd be a very interesting game because they got a lot of stars and a lot of great talent on their teams.
Yeah, you want to take a look at some division leaders right now. Lions, Giants, Saints, Seahawks in the NFC. AFC, you got the Bengals, Patriots, Jaguars, and the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs are right there. They're probably going to get a bye week, so we'd have to see this somewhere in the divisional round. Now I'd take a look at that on the NFC side as well. Two teams I'd like to see match up. Obviously, Giants, Cowboys. This is already a rivalry. These are two teams that have been going at it back and forth, slugfest. Zeke Elliott, Saquon Barkley. And one thing we know about both of these teams, the halfback's going to be healthy in the playoffs. So, Lip, why do we want to see this matchup so bad in the playoffs? I mean, it has to happen at some point, right? We need to see this.
Well, yeah, we want to see this because we want to see both of these teams. They almost mirror each other very well. They have stud wide receivers at one. They have amazing MVP halfbacks, respectively, and then they have stars on the defensive side that can, depending on how you play and how you match up. The only difference is Dak Prescott compared to Josh Allen, and depending on how Allen plays out, if he can stay healthy, if he can be a franchise guy, we haven't gotten to see that yet due to injury. That's the wild card for me here in this matchup. If the Giants can kind of go and take the division from the Cowboys and take that playoff success that the Cowboys have had and turn it into their own, because that's the only difference that I see in these two teams is at the quarterback position, and it's only because we haven't got to see it play out with Allen yet.
Absolutely. You take a look at our power rankings right there. Power rankings for Week 11. You see the New York Giants at 4, the Dallas Cowboys at 2. This is a must. This is a must see. We definitely got to see this. I want to see this. Let's go ahead and move on. What do we have next on the show? We're going to throw that OSU video up again, but I'm already dropping frames again, so we're probably going to cut this episode just a little bit short. Seems like it's buffering a little bit, and it's starting to really annoy me, but we do got some information. OSU's going to pass it along here right now. Let's go ahead and play that video one more time.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's OSU, and I am very excited to announce that through the EA Shoutcaster Showdown, I have been selected to head out to Redwood City, California, and be live on the call during the Madden Championship Series. I can't thank EA enough for this opportunity. As you guys know, I've been here as the network director of the NBL for about the last year and a half.
All right, for some reason, that video is the one that's causing all the frames to drop. Lip, let's go ahead and wrap this show up. Commissioner Corner Podcast. Was there anything else that I was missing on? I mean, we got the power rankings on the screen right now. It just dropped. Check out the blog on MaddenBomberLeague.com. Yeah, I guess embedding that video was in there was a little too long for the program to pull up. It's causing some frame dropping.
It's strange. Whenever you play that video, right before, like right whenever you start it, and then after it, your voice to me starts getting choppy as well.
Yeah,
I thought it was my stuff the first time, and then it did it again there.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think I think it just might be a little long to be inside the program, and it's causing something. Maybe I needed to put it in its own separate scene or something. I don't know. I'd say user error, user mistake. I'll bite the bullet on that one. But yes, you guys already know about the OSU thing, man. Just congratulations. What a great great time for the NBL. We want to take a quick look at these power rankings so far. Anything out there that jumps off the screen?
I think that the Dolphins at 6 is I don't know. Something about this team stands out to me, and I know that this is I guess I should take this as a power rankings and not what Lip thinks about a team, but I think that they are really a team that doesn't get a lot of I guess press, that really does deserve it more, and I think they are more powerful than teams think. And the thing is, to me, the Browns at 20, they are nowhere near the 20th best team in the league. They're a lot better. They just hit a little bit of a rough patch, because look at all these teams between 20 and I would go as far to say 9. All of those teams, I think the Browns are significantly better. The Colts as well. I think that they've just both those teams have just hit a little bit of a rough patch. The Colts are going to fire back here real soon. I think that they'll be able to get up into that top 12 power rankings by the end of the season. But both of those teams, I think, deserve a little bit more respect than where they're at currently.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed Commissioner Corner Podcast. Once again, apologies for the drop frames on that video. User error there. I didn't realize that I probably needed to put that in another scene. But then after I played it, I go, yeah, I probably did. And that's where we were. If the playoffs started today, here would be your division leader so far. Lions, Giants, Saints, Seahawks, AFC, Bengals, Patriots, Jaguars, Chiefs. Lip, if you have to choose 2 teams that aren't going to win as far as be the division leaders at the end and have that home field advantage in the wild card or even that bye week, where would you go? Where do you look around the league? I'm suspect on the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm kind of suspect on the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at. The Bengals are, man, I'm telling you what, I'd be sweating, because the Browns, I'm telling you, they're going to fire back. But more importantly, I think that the Saints should be really uncomfortable, because we talked about how the Panthers are playing well. They're drafting well. If the Panthers get on a hot streak, which I think they're right about there, I think that they could take the division, and that would be bad news for the Saints, because the Panthers have a good team. They just got to get it together, string a couple wins together, and they could take that division.
All right, let's go ahead and cancel the show. Let's end the show. That's episode number 51. Not our best stuff. Some technical difficulties. I'm still dropping frames right now. For those who stuck around, appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time here on the Commissioner Corner.